Welcome back. All right, so I want to talk about the LA Kings. The LA Kings are it's bizarre. They're 8-3-3 overall. Their overall number is good. It's a good record. If I told Kings fans before the season started, hey, you guys are going to get off to an 8-3-3 start, Kings fans would have said, great, cool, looks good. What's interesting is on the road, they're perfect. They're 7-0. They've looked fantastic on the road, and at home, not as much. 1-3-3 record at home. So I think that warrants a look in a video and some bizarre stuff when you get into the numbers. So I want to look at their home games first, right? So their first home game, October the 11th, they lose against the Colorado Avalanche 5-2. Well, the Avs are seen as a contending team. They're 9-5 currently on the season. They did get off to that really strong 6-0 start. Now they've lost 5 out of 8. But last night they get a pretty convincing win over Seattle. Maybe things are going better for them. LA trailed 3-0 in the second period. They get goals in that one from Grundstrom and Byfield. Then on October 14th, they lost in a shootout against the Carolina Hurricanes. Again, Carolina, a team seen as a contender. They're 9-6 to start the season. LA trailed 3-0 in the first in that one. So LA getting down early and often. Goals in that one. Doughty had one. Kopitar had two. Moore had one, as well as Gavrikov. So a rough start to the season. Not all that out of character for the LA Kings to get off to a slow start. So they go out on the road. October the 17th in Winnipeg, they win 5-1. Make it look easy. They led 2-0 after two. The goals were from Dubois, of course, because Dubois has returned to Winnipeg. Two goals from Trevor Moore. Kaliev and Danault also had goals. The Winnipeg Jets off to a 7-5-2 start to the season, and pretty good team. So that's three in a row, quality opponents for the LA Kings, and they come out of those three games 1-1-1. Then they go to Minnesota and clobber them 7-3. They trailed 2-1 in the first. It didn't stay a game where they were trailing for that much longer. Goals in that one. Dubois had two. Grundstrom, Gavrikov, Moore, Kempe, and Lizotte also had goals. So everybody kind of gets in on the fun in that one. If you're a Minnesota fan, you're just going, yeah, and the reality is Minnesota off to a 5-8-2 start over in Sweden currently. It can only help. It really can't hurt. They definitely need some sort of a reset. And being overseas is a bit of a team bonding experiment. So, anyways, that being said, the LA Kings came back home, and on October 21st, they lose 4-2 against the Bruins. That game was tied 1-1 in the second. The Bruins are off to an amazing 11-1-2 start to the season. Goals in that game for the Kings, Laferriere and Grundstrom. So, the first three opponents for LA are Colorado, Carolina, and Boston. And not having a win against any of those three teams is not a reason for complete and total panic. It shows you that the schedule was tough at home to start. Then on October 24th, they play at home against the Coyotes. They win that game 6-3, despite being down 1-0 early in that one. They had goals from Kopitar, Lewis, Moore, Lizotte, Fiala, and Kempe. Arizona's 7-6-1 on the season. And then they go to Arizona and beat those 7-6-1 Coyotes the next game. So they win that one 5-4. What's interesting in that one is they trailed 4-1 after the first. Believe me, after that first period against Arizona, none of us would have said, well, they'll end up 7-0 to start the season on the road anyways. Because they looked like they were done, and then they came back and won that one. Big emotional victory. Mikey Anderson had a goal in that one. Doughty had two. Byfield and Kopitar had the others. So they win back-to-back games against the Coyotes. So the Coyotes, outside of playing the Kings, are actually 7-4-1. So there's that. But yeah, it was a good start. Then they come back home the next night and they lose in a shootout. So keep in mind, you go from playing Arizona, an emotional game where you're behind 4-1, you win 5-4, and then the next night you're at home against the Vegas Golden Knights. So they lost in a shootout. They did lead 2-0 in the second in that one, but Vegas is well known for their comebacks. Goals in that one, Laferriere, Lewis, and Doughty. So again, another really high quality opponent. They get a shootout loss there, the same as they did against Carolina. You do want to win. Obviously, you want to win, but are you happy with a point against Vegas? Probably, yeah, and we'll talk about Vegas again. So then on October 31st, they go to Toronto. So this is that, three time zones over, that East Coast swing. It can be tough, and they win 4-1 on Halloween in Toronto. They led 2-0 after the first. They had goals from England, Danault, Kaliev, Kempe. Toronto's at an 8-5-2 record currently. It's been an up and down season so far, but LA went in and handled them, played a really strong 60 minutes. Then they go into Ottawa the 2 nights later, and they win that game 3-2. Now they did lead 3-0 in the second, and then kind of hold on from there. Your goals are from Danault, Grundstrom, and Kopitar. The Ottawa Senators are 6-7 to start the season. They, Toronto, Minnesota, all overseas, as well as Detroit. Detroit has not played the LA Kings as of yet. So pretty solid road trip that then continues in Philadelphia a couple nights later, and they win that one 5-0. They led 2-0 after the first. Goals in that game came from Kempe, Kopitar, Kaliev, Moore, and Lizotte. The Flyers, of course, off to a 7-7 start. And then a few days later, in Vegas, they win 4-1. So this is a tremendous road trip here. They go to Toronto, Ottawa, Philly, and Las Vegas. They win all 4. So winning 3 out of 4 would have been considered a victory, I would think, but they win all 4. 4-1 win, and they led 2-0 after the second. And then they handled Vegas in the third period in Las Vegas at T-Mobile. That just doesn't happen very often. So the hype around LA, completely understandable coming off that road trip. So leading 2-0 after the second and getting goals from Kempe, Moore, Dubois, and Kopitar, yeah, things feel pretty good. The Vegas Golden Knights, 12-2-1 on the season, a regulation loss against LA, and they took them till a shootout to beat LA. So LA has given Vegas everything that they can handle when they've played them so far this season. It does, definitely lend credence to the idea that they're a contending team if you view it that way. And then the next night at home against Pittsburgh. So this is where is there a bit of an emotional letdown coming home to play against Pittsburgh after beating Las Vegas in Vegas? Maybe, right? So they lose in overtime against the Penguins. They did lead 2-1 in the second period in that game before they lose it. Your goals are from Grundstrom, Kempe, and Fiala. The Penguins, of course, at a 7-6 mark. They swept all the games in California. And then November the 11th, they lose 4-2 against those Philadelphia Flyers, the 7-7-1 team. Cal Peterson seemed a little bit fired up in that game to play against LA after playing against LA in the other game where he lost 5-0. So they lose that game 4-2 due to the LA Kings. They trailed 3-0 in the second, and there was never really a feeling they were really and truly going to come back and win this. Grundstrom and Kempe with the assists. So again, Philadelphia 7-7-1. So when we look at this list of teams, and you look at this list of teams, honestly, their schedule has been okay when it comes to, not too many back-to-backs. It is understandable, again, that you come home from an emotional victory over Vegas and maybe have a bit of a letdown here. You have an emotional victory here where you come back and have maybe a bit of a letdown here. And so that might be part of it, is that when they have had those back-to-backs, they're not just at home on the road. They have the back-to-back where the second half is at home and the first half is on the road. And that has to be difficult for players. Even if you're just going from Las Vegas to LA, you're still having to take your flight and everything. And it can throw off your just your focus, right? And your ability to get ready for that next game. But when we look at the splits, and the split stats are really interesting. So I've got the top 7 forwards by scoring on the board. And it's curious. First off, you've got Kempe in 7 games on the road, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points, and he's a -3. I do like to use plus-minus for these videos because in this case, fascinating story here. On the road, Kempe, 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points in 7 games, and he's a +10. So their 5-on-5 play on the road is much, much better. And not only that, they're scoring more. So the question of, is this a case of them trying to be flashy and really, really creative at home? I don't know, because they score plenty on the road. They score a lot on the road. So I don't know if that's necessarily part, and I've talked about that myself, but the numbers, when I look at it, I don't think that's it. So Kopitar on the road, 7 games, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points, also a -3, so his numbers are exactly the same as Kempe's. At home, 4 goals, 4 assists for 8 points in 7 games. He's a +10 as well. Kopitar, known as one of the best defensive forwards in the game, a -3 on the road. That's odd. I don't know that necessarily continues. Kevin Fiala continues this pattern. At home, 7 games, 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points. He's a -5. Oddly enough, he doesn't score as well on the road, where he has 6 assists in 7 games, but his plus-minus is even. So, curious, right? Then you got Byfield at home, 7 games, 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points. He's a +1. He's the only one of their top 7 scoring forwards who has a plus rating at home. On the road, 1 goal, 8 assists, 9 points in 7 games, and he's a +8. So Byfield's had a very good start to the season. Moore has been fantastic on the road. At home, not as much. At home, 2 goals in 7 games, a -5. On the road, 7 games, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points, and a +7. So I have no idea what's going on. It's just like I had expected a few guys to be better at home than on the road, or better on the road than at home. I didn't expect every single player to be playing better on the road than at home. Dubois, 7 games at home, just 3 assists. He's a -2 at home. On the road, 4 goals, 1 assist, 5 points in 7 games. He's a -1. So Dubois' run so far in LA, bit of a mixed bag. He's still getting to know things and all of that, but he doesn't have a goal at home. And so that's troubling, right? Through 7 games at home. Dano, no goals for him at home, just the 2 assists in 7 games. He's a -6 at home. And on the road, 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points in 7 games, and he's a +5. So there isn't a forward there who's playing better at home than he is on the road. I don't know that I've seen that before. I had expected some of them, not all of them. And then the goaltending, kind of the same thing. It's Talbot's show, though, isn't it? So at home, he's 0-3-1 with an .872 save percentage. Rough numbers. On the road, 7-0 with a .954 save percentage. That doesn't even seem like it should be real. Phoenix Copley at home, 1-0-2 with an .818 save percentage. On the road, no record. 500 save percentage because he just makes an appearance in relief. So Copley's numbers, I mean, by win-loss perspective, are better at home than Talbot's, but his save percentage, not so much. He has a .792 on the season. So LA, it really depends on how you see things. Like if we're asking the question, and it was asked of me by Ted Ramey today, the whole idea of, hey, so the LA Kings contender, people saying to him he thought LA was a contender, he thought it was too early. And as I said to him, it depends. Are they on the road or are they at home? The interesting thing is if they keep winning games on the road like they do, odds are they probably get home ice advantage in the playoffs. But do you want home ice advantage in the playoffs if you're LA? Do we want to advocate for a world where a team at the start of a series says, yeah, we'll start on the road, where maybe you have more say in where the games would get played? Now, obviously, broadcast partners would say, no, we want to know exactly where these games are as soon as possible. But it's a thought. There are definitely teams that are better on the road than at home. And LA's been pretty darn close to flawless on the road, and at home, it's been a misadventure. So is it coaching? Is there pressure? Is it that they're at home and they're like, Will Ferrell's here? Oh no. And they just want to perform so well for Will Ferrell, who's only shown about 48 times a game when they're in LA. It's insane sometimes how many times they show him. Where I'm like, okay, I know Will Ferrell's in the crowd, and agreed. You know, it's great that he's there and great for the game and for its visibility. We know he's there, but like, is there more pressure on them at home? Is it a matter of their opponents are just better for their home schedule, so maybe things even out? Let me know your thoughts. Which one is the real LA Kings? The team on the road, the team at home, or somewhere in the middle? My guess is it's somewhere in the middle. I still think they're going to be a playoff team when the dust settles, but they've got to get their home record going. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.